Alright, everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So I just finished recording my Kaiju and Spy family videos, so hopefully those should be out on the channel pretty quickly now. So like I did in those videos, just a couple of channel things to go over before we dive into this review proper. So background noise is a fan is running, there's a heat wave going around. Hope everyone's staying safe and cool as best as you can. But yeah, it has been a lot. I am absolutely boiling in here, even with the fan running. So yeah, it hasn't been super pleasant. Because of the heat wave, busy with work and everything else, I haven't had time to get back to the read-through videos this week. I will get back to Elite at some point next week, probably on Saturday or so, but I'll do an update video or something closer to next weekend with kind of dates, times, and stuff for when the last Elite video is coming, as well as like what the next series or which series I'm going to get back to after that, and dates and times for that as well. So with that said, let us dive into this review for the One Piece chapter. So I'm just going to upfront and say this first before we get into the review proper. Like, after this review, I am going to be taking a break from the One Piece chapter reviews and stuff for a while. I haven't decided yet how long or when it's going to be coming back, because this chapter just pissed me off so badly with the shoddy, lazy, asshole writing that was in it. And I'm just like, we're over 100 chapters now into this arc. And the fact that we're, like, it's just gotten so tiring. Arc fatigue has been hitting me hard, and I'm not having fun like criticizing this weekly and just complaining constantly about stuff like this, especially when we get Aspel chapters like this. It's just no fun for anyone. So I'm going to take a break from this, kind of work on some other long form essay videos I wanted to do with regards to this series instead. But yeah, this chapter just annoyed the hell out of me. So I'm going to try to make this review as succinct as possible, because I just don't have much to say about it. So without further ado, let's get into One Piece chapter 1017, The Order. We have a reader request of a chimpanzee solving puzzles with Buggy's Body by Komiso Naru. Of course, by Ichiro Oda, translation Stephen Paul, lettering by Vanessa Satone. So as usual, start at the beginning, go to the end, thoughts on everything that's happening. I don't know what the point of Tama getting knocked out for like 3 seconds before she gets back up to give the order was in this chapter. I don't know if Oda thought he needed some kind of, like explanation or some kind of reason for. Let me rephrase that and back that up. It feels like because Oda wanted to do the explanation that comes after this with Jinbei telling Usu like, oh, so this wasn't a one-on-one fight. I had to fight all you scrubs as well. It feels like because he realized he forgot to put that explanation in there, or because he wanted to like justify like something or another, or whatever the nonsense was. It feels like he's like, oh, I'll have Tama knocked out for 3 seconds so I can drop in this little bit of exposition before I have her give the order for what's going on and everything. But like, was it really necessary? Like, I don't think it added or detracted anything from it. Like, if you'd just given us the Jinbei explanation, I don't think anyone would have been like, oh, why didn't we have blah blah blah. I don't think the Tama scene was necessary, I guess is what I'm saying. I also don't know how much I really buy into, the idea that all the gifters and everything also ganging up on, the Straw Hats and their allies was really swinging things one way or another. Like, it feels like an attempt by Oda to be like, oh, look, it actually is tough for the Straw Hats. Oh, they are the underdogs. They are having to fight hard. I just still don't buy it. It feels cheap and fake. But honestly, what's new at this point? Like, we literally got two panels of this before Tama just gets back up again, like, no issues, and gives out the order. So I don't know why Oda stalled. I don't like Tama's Devil Fruit. It's Sugar 2.0, like convenient Devil Fruits being like this plot convenient just annoys me because it's lazy writing. No, I'm not gonna go into the whys or hows 'cause I just don't care enough. But it is lazy writing. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, it is whatever. And like I said, I don't really buy that the Gifters changing sides suddenly gonna be like the thing that suddenly changes the tides of battle one way or another. But whatever. I guess all the stands and the schlubs will just eat that up. It did make me wonder though. The only one intriguing thing about this is I wonder if CP0 is potentially going to try and kidnap Tama after all this is said and done, because her mind control powers could come in really useful for them, especially if they force feed smile fruits to people. It could come in really useful for them to have someone, could order an army of people around like that. But that it'll come to when we come to it. We finally got Queen's hybrid form, which I guess is a sign that things are finally going to get serious. I'm sorry, Queen just does not look impressive as a hybrid. Like, he's got the whole Doc Ock thing going, which is kind of cool, but his design kind of just falls flat for me. Hybrid wise, I don't think Oda really went as creative with it as he could have. God. Like, the scientists having a group that's called MADS, obviously going to be mad scientists, kind of like a little bit on the nose, but whatever. That's kind of par for the course for Oda. So not a big deal. Honestly, the only interesting thing that could come out of this fight between Shitji and Queen is confirmation of theories, ideas I've had regarding Judge, Sora, and Vegapunk, because I'm still of the mind that Judge sold out everyone else on the science team, and then after that basically sold out and basically stole their technology to use for Germa. So I wonder if Queen being a cyborg is because Vegapunk experimented on him, or if that's just a thing he did to himself, like self-modification and everything like that. But yeah, whatever. Queen's not a particularly compelling character, so his backstory is not going to be super. I'm not super interested in learning about his backstory, but just interested in him more so in conjunction with the other characters. Chopper, of course, the side effect of the Rumble Ball is, Oda trying to do the greatest hits again and being like, oh, he just turns into, Kira Third Luffy, where he just becomes a small, cuter version of himself. This wouldn't bug me as much if it felt like, the Straw Hats actually had to struggle, or if it felt like, Chopper turning into a baby geezer that couldn't protect himself was actually going to make it harder for them to fight and take on, Kaido and his goons, because they have to kind of protect Chopper and fight at the same time. If something like that happened, Oda going for the gag of ha ha ha, the side effect is that Chopper became cuter and smaller, wouldn't be so annoying. But the fact that Oda does do these stupid fake outs and complete with, the lack of tension, the lack of stakes, it just falls flat when he gives us something stupid like this. It doesn't hit as a joke, and it just don't care for it at all. So it's whatever. And this was the part where I'm just like, I got so frustrated with this bullshit that I just had to be like, I can't do these reviews anymore. And that's Miyagi pulling this magical mink medicine out of his ass and telling Chopper like, oh hey, I've got this magical medicine that'll cure him, and like, oh, it has a side effect. Again, Oda trying to justify this bullshit, like, oh, it has a side effect where he'll feel twice the pain once it wears off. It's not going to really matter, because Zoro's not going to give a shit. It's not going to affect the story in any way like it would have, say, after Thriller Bark, where it actually did play into the plot, Zoro being injured and kind of like holding back the crew in that regard. So this is just a bullshit excuse for Oda to be like, oh, I need Zoro healed so he can fight. Let me pull this bullshit mink medicine out of my ass. And it annoys the hell out of me, because Marco's presence here on Wano, to me, was only justified because we had the precedent of like, oh hey, Marco can use his Phoenix Flames to heal people. We've already had the thing with Manchur, which is like, oh, I can heal people better. It'll take away a bit of my lifespan, or like other people's lifespan, whatever. Oda could have pulled the same bullshit with that on Wano, where he's like, oh, Marco can use his healing flames on Zoro, to heal him. Like, and it could have justified it by saying like, oh, Marco's lifespan will take a hit from it, or Zoro's lifespan will be used up a bit. for him to heal fully, but he'll heal him, whatever. You could have done that. It would have still been annoying, but it would have at least been a little bit justified compared to this fucking bullshit mink medicine. It's like, oh, I've never heard of this shit before, but hey, here's a sudden plot convenient thing you can use. So, and the fact that fans are trying to justify being like, well, it was actually hinted at on Wano, like, you guys just don't read enough. You all really are just so ready to plant your face into Oda's ass and just kiss up to him so bad. It's amazing. Like, absolutely amazing how much stans are just willing to hype up this man's mediocrity. Like, I don't even know what to say about that. The Who's Who stuff, like, yay, Jinbei's finally getting a fight. I actually do like Who's Who's hybrid form. But I don't really care for this bullshit reveal of like, oh, I was guarding the gum gum fruit, like the rubber fruit being super important. I do not like as a plot point, because this has been something fans have been theorizing about for years and years and years and years, trying to justify by saying like, oh, what if Roger had the rubber fruit first, and it's like it's destiny for Luffy to get it, blah blah blah, which for to me kind of goes against the whole theme of this entire series about like free will and freedom and like going against determinism and all that. And for Oda to kind of circle back and be like, nah, it is going to be destiny. There's no such thing as free will. He is going to be the chosen one. Like, this feels like it's going to go to the reveal that Joy Boy had the original rubber fruit, and the reason that Luffy, above everyone else, has potentially tried to carry the titles because they didn't have the rubber fruit, but Luffy does, and that's why he's the chosen one. I feel like that's the direction it's going, and I'm not really jiving with that at all. But honestly, like, again, who really cares about any of these people at this point? Like, do I even care about Luffy anymore? Not really, so it's kind of like, alright, sure. I guess Oda can do whatever the hell he wants now. Ugh. But, oh man, the fans, again, like, the fans trying to act like Oda's done something, like, phenomenal or, like, mind-blowing by having, like, oh my god, I can't believe you connected this back to chapter 1 with Shanks saying they stole this from someone else's ship. If this series was not as long as it was, I don't think people would overhype the fact that Oda's just tying back, doing like basic storytelling element of like tying back to something he'd introduced and kind of expanding on his world building as some kind of like this mythical feat that he's done that no other writer could have pulled off, just because the fact the series is dragged out for so long. Like, being like, oh my god, like, having a reasoning behind, or like tying back the fact that, the stolen Devil Fruit ship is somehow tied to the plot somehow, isn't like this magical, mystical thing that only Oda could have done, and I really don't get why people are treating it like that. And I guarantee it is because of the length of the series has gone on for so long. People are like, oh, well, other authors would have forgotten, but not Oda, because, he knows everything about the series, and he's always looking, 20 steps ahead. I really need you all to go read some other books, read some other stories that are not shown in Jump, because it is really telling that you don't read outside this very, very niche demographic. Very, very obvious. But yeah, honestly, this, like I said, 100 chapters in, if this is the quality of story you're going to give us, it is really not worth my time to keep going on and like trying to review it and like trying to provide like nuanced and pointed critique when the fandom is just gonna eat up dumb shit like this. Like, it's just a waste of everyone's time. That said, I really do appreciate everyone, that stuck around with me for these videos during this time, that's upvoted them, liked it, all that good stuff. You really all have done a lot and meant a lot for me, and really have inspired me to keep doing these videos, despite, kind of like my position in the fandom and my feelings on the fandom. So I really do appreciate all that, but like I've got so many other projects and backlogs I want to start working on. I feel like time invested in this would rather be better spent towards that instead, where I can have those more nuanced kind of critiques and conversations. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe if Wano somehow in the last half turns around to goes back to being good, maybe I'll consider coming back to doing review videos again. Or if it turns out, some plot point I talked about predicted came true, maybe then I'll come back to do a video and talk about that. But until that time, I think I'll just post some like straight thoughts on Twitter now and then. But I am just so burnt out with this series. It's just gotten tiring. With that said, thank you all for watching this video. If you like my content, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Till next time, this is Ash. I'll talk to you all later.